At the beginning of this talk, and I'm no religious expert, I referenced Moses. I know Moses had a staff in his hand at some point, and he struck a rock because that's how all shepherds in ancient times found water in the desert. Water's under the barren rocks. Today in Uganda, when we're surveying for groundwater, we actually look for these gigantic termite mounds and big trees. Using those rocks might seem like a miracle story today, but even in the last 100 years, people have used this to find water in the world. Water ran under the rocks in the desert. You just had to find it. In my own way, I just started banging on rocks. Eventually, I did get an environmental science degree and a degree in sustainability policy and new economics. But on my way to those degrees, I took a radical step of just trying to repair the world. It was imperfect and ambitious. I wanted to solve all of the issues of Lake Erie. I wanted to get to the end, call it done, and do it all. I realized that if people weren't thinking about the water they were putting in their own bodies every day, it was going to be really hard to rally the troops to solve all of Lake Erie's issues, or even bigger, the world water crisis. So, I just got started. I met people where they were. We dreamt up the Drink Local, Drink Tap campaign to encourage people to think about their own health and their own bodies and how they get water into their bodies, and that great first step of reducing single-use plastics. Change starts with me, that was kind of the idea. Then we adopted our local beach and started hosting these beach cleanups, rain or shine, and even in the snow. The winter cleanups weren't as popular. Today, unfortunately, we're still finding trash. To-go utensils, food containers, cigarette butts, cigarillo tips, plastic bags, tiny plastic pieces, balloons, straws, and more. It's endless. Can you believe, though, just as of last weekend, we surpassed 600,000 pieces of counted, picked up trash. That's 17,000 pounds of garbage that have been removed by normal people like me and you. Now, I thought we could permanently clean the beaches, but what happened was different. Beach cleanups have surely helped Lake Erie and my community, but the pollution is still there 15 years later. We didn't solve the problem. So take a minute right now and imagine a bathtub overflowing. And we're standing in the bathroom with a mop trying to mop up the floor. But the faucet's on. That faucet is our single-use plastic, our trash, everything else that's polluting our waterways. The beach cleanups became a gateway for eye-opening, long-term behavior change, but it didn't solve what I set out to solve, not overnight anyways. People leave the cleanups with the potential for long-term behavior change, which creates different ripples than I originally intended. I took a step, banging on rocks to fix Lake Erie. Eventually, I found an unforeseen opportunity to change the world in an even bigger way by bringing more people into the fold and creating space and time for behavior change to occur. There's a phenomenological shift now happening in my community. Over time, many people have pledged not to use single-use plastics. They invite us also to their classrooms, workplaces, and places of worship to get educated on living more sustainably. There's a collective shift happening, and it's no longer just about picking up trash, which is great. I just had to keep going, tapping on rocks, and I had to be flexible with my ambitions and expectations for a certain outcome. We are water. We all have the ability to help. You may not get it right, and you may not create a permanent solution to a need or problem in your community, but nothing will happen if you don't start tapping on rocks. And you have a staff in your hand. It might be your education, your economic privilege, your network, or your neighborhood. I had some serious gumption and a high tolerance for risk. My husband over there would probably still agree. What do you have? All of us need to engage, take a step and swim upstream to prevent trash from getting to the beach in the first place. Every action we take is significant, and it all adds up like those 600,000 pieces of trash. You have a staff in your hand. How will you use it?